Hi, this video is about a local area network that we put together on our homestead, which is in a rural area. It covers both internet access and also connectivity of buildings that are about 300 feet apart. I hope you find it interesting. So this slide is the network layout. There's basically two buildings on the property, the house and the barn, and we wanted to connect them. And they're separated by about 300 feet. So the prospect of digging a trench and putting an Ethernet cable in really wasn't too viable. So we elected to use wireless. The solution is a couple of access points on the roof, provides a high-speed 5G data link to the barn, and this provides support for 4 HD cameras, and there's also a slave Wi-Fi router in there that we use in the barn. And we'll go into a little bit more detail about those later. We also have smart things, home automation hubs in both the house and the barn. We tried to get the smart things devices to talk to the house, but even with the repeater it didn't work out so well. So the solution we came up with was quite good. And then we also have a wide area network internet access via a wireless modem using NetBuddy as provider. So I did a lot of research on the internet access. In this area, there's no cable access. There's really no high-speed internet. We could have got DSL, but unfortunately, it was very expensive. So in the end, I looked for a wireless solution, and after much searching and much heartache, I finished it with a company called NetBuddy, and for $60 a month, they were basically the only provider that would give me a truly unlimited data plan. You hear a lot of unlimited data plans. Most of them will provide you a fixed amount of data at high speed and then throttle it back. But this was the only service I could find that was both unlimited, a reasonable price, and didn't do any throttling. The carrier is AT&T, but AT&T do not provide, although they say they do not provide an unlimited data plan. The modem is a Netgear LB1120, and that seems to work quite well. We get 4 bars of signal. We're about 4 miles away from the tower, but we do have a line of sight to the tower. We get 4 bars with external antennas. I put a couple of external antennas on the roof, and we achieve pretty adequate performance to stream YouTube or Netflix. And that's in full HD. And we don't get any annoying loading and those sorts of things. I bought the SIM card from Best Buy, and it was activated by NetBuddy. So this is the internet solution. So we get our signal from AT&T cell tower. So it's about 3 or 4 miles away, and that's of course a wireless link to the Netgear wireless modem. Originally, we tried it without the external antennas. We got a couple of bars. It was okay, but it wasn't very good. It wasn't reliable enough. So I purchased a couple of external antennas, and that improved the signal strength, and now we get pretty decent performance, pretty reliable. Of course, that connects into the WAN port inside the Wi-Fi router. Details of the router are nothing very special. Its gateway IP is pretty well default. Everybody uses that one. I did set up the DHCP from 1 to 99 and then fixed IP for the other ones. This is the access points. So you can see in the picture there to the right that it shows them on a small piece of conduit pole on the top of the air conditioner on the top of the house. It has a fairly good view of the barn. I used both a CPE 510 and a CPE 210. Had the space and decided to put both of them on just to see which one was going to be the best. I used the CPE 510 for direct connection to the barn. They both need PoE injectors. They do come with the when you purchase them. So you do have to find a plug to plug them in. And the output of the PoE injectors goes straight into the Wi-Fi router. So the network in the barn is basically a Wi-Fi router. It's an Archer C50 TP-Link Wi-Fi router, and it's configured as a local wireless network. So this is basically a secondary router. So I have a couple of SSIDs in the barn 2.4G, barn 5G. Call those anything you like. I've got 4 HD PoE security cameras that plug straight into the into a switch, into a Netgear PoE switch. It also supports the SmartThings hub, which allows us to control the lights in the barn remotely. The CPE 510 client is connected to the 5G AP on the roof of the house, and we get very good signal to noise. Basically, we get 100% signal quality. And all equipment is housed in a weatherproof and a critter-proof plastic enclosure. Has to be plastic because you need access to the hub and also to the Wi-Fi router. So this is the inside of the enclosure. Everything's powered from a 12-volt power supply. It's the blue thing on the bottom left. So I did need to purchase an additional PoE injector for the CPE 510. This is a 24-volt PoE injector. And in order to run it off 12 volts, I did need a 12-volt to 24-volt DC to DC converter. And then also for the switch, that's the black box on the bottom right. That's the PoE switch. That also requires 48 volts. So I got a 12 to 48 volt DC to DC converter. And that all seems to work pretty good. The PoE cameras fit into the Ethernet cables fit into the left side of the PoE switch. The right side is just regular Ethernet. And on the left side in the lid is a Wi-Fi router. This is an Archer C50. And that gets driven by 12 volts. And then there's also a SmartThings hub, which unfortunately requires 5 volts. So I had to also purchase a 12 volt to 5 volt DC to DC converter for the hub. So what's the overall conclusions about this little project? So the CPE 210, 510 data links have performed very well. They provide us high quality and reliable links between the homestead and the barn. And that's 24/7. It basically never goes down. The CPEs are easy to set up and configure as APs or clients. You'll find some great online resources for how to configure them. System is pretty scalable, and I've already added some additional clients and also an AP. I added a security camera to the pump house. That was very quick, very easy. A wireless LAN for my lab. I didn't really want to run any Ethernet cable. And then also an AP for the rear. So on the rear of the property, it doesn't really get very good coverage from the ones on the two APs on the roof. So I put an additional AP on the rear of the property too. The 4G LTE performance is not so good. It's adequate. We can stream on two HD TVs at the same time, no problem. It's typically in the 10 to 25 megabits per second range, which is adequate. And the service from NetBuddy is truly unlimited. We use over 400 gigabits of data per month and never had any issues with that at all. In fact, working with NetBuddy is great. You basically put the SIM card in, they will configure it for you over the phone. You don't have to send it in, or and then they just bill us $60 a month. That's it. So so this system has worked very well. Very happy with it. So although the LTE performance is bad, my hope is that I think hope is on the way for rural customers. So I don't know if you know about the SpaceX Starlink system, but once that's deployed, we should be able to get much better coverage. That's due for starting in 2024. We're all very excited about that prospect. Well, as always, thank you very much for listening. I really enjoyed this project. It was very interesting. I learned a lot, of course. That's the best thing about projects. You learn so much. And I hope you found it interesting, and it will help you with maybe one of your projects too.